Happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into NBA Weekly. I'm your host, Harris Rubenstein. Got a cool show on tap today, going through the top rumors from across the association. Later in the show, we'll be going over my list of the top 10 power forwards in the NBA. And then to end it, the NBA mailbag returns. We'll be going through your questions that we've collected over this week from Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and around the rest of the internet sphere. So without further ado, let's get into this new ruling from the NCAA that will allow undrafted players to return to college. Now, this whole process is very complicated, so we'll try to break it down with direct quotes from the NCAA as well as reports yesterday from NBA insiders. So a couple different things that the NCAA has allowed going forward, or at least starting when high school players are allowed to enter the NBA. New rules will allow for elite high schoolers to have agents. Players who don't get drafted will have the option of returning to college, but they will not be eligible for the NBA until the end of the next season. So basically, if you don't get drafted, you can't just randomly leave school in the middle of the year in order to join an interested NBA team. But the real important, rule change here is allowing elite high schoolers to have agents. The undrafted players being able to return to college is very straightforward, and it won't actually end up being that common. But allowing these elite high school players to end up having agents is where the NCAA is going to end up getting into problems, because the issue is the NCAA has given the onus on selecting who the elite high schoolers who are allowed to have agents. They've now put that onus on USA Basketball, who were never alerted to actually, the NCAA wanting them to do this. The NBA is pissed because they feel they should be the ones to have the ability to choose who gets an agent, seeing as the reason they're getting agents is to go to the NBA. But the problem is that the NCAA didn't talk to either organization and just made this rule outright without talking to anyone, similar to how the NFL made their anthem rule without talking to the NFL Players Association. So let's go through a couple of official quotes here from the NCAA as well from NBA insiders, like I mentioned before. So inside the NCAA, which is kind of the NCAA's PR, ability to release a lot of public relations stuff, saying, quote, student athletes have more freedom and flexibility to decide about going pro or getting a college education, and they can receive financial assistance if they leave school early and wish to return later to finish their degree. They also say, to clarify, rules would allow high school players to have agents only after the NBA/NBA Players Association begin allowing players to be drafted out of high school. Details regarding how high school prospects are eligible will be considered before the rule is effective. So now they're putting the onus on the NBA to say, hey, make up this rule to kind of, to make up for our slack here and to make up for the gray area inside of our rules. Now, the NBA and the USA Basketball have both responded through Adrian Wojnarowski yesterday, as well through at Draft Express on Twitter. Jonathan Givony is one of the top kind of high school to college draft guys in the NBA today, especially on social media, saying the NCAA is only allowing high school seniors who have been designated as elite prospects by USA Basketball to have questions. My question is, what about guys like R.J. Barrett, Charles Baisley, and others who aren't USA Basketball eligible? If you don't know this, R.J. Barrett is from Canada and is the #1 prospect coming out of high school this year. A U.S. Basketball official informed me they haven't had any substantive conversations at this stage about any of these changes, nor have they given their approval. It sounds like the NCAA will be designated who is considered an elite prospect. USA Basketball will then run their camp for them. So now the NCAA is the one who will be choosing who these prospects are and dumping it on USA Basketball, saying, here, now they're your problem. But the NBA, through all this, is also equally as confused as to what exactly their role is in all this. An NBA spokesman, Tim Frank, said yesterday, quote, we will review the NCAA's planned reforms and continue to assess, along with our Players Association, the potential for any related NBA rule changes. Also said, NCAA declaring its own rule changes for early entry legislation has not been agreed upon by the NBA/NBA Players Association and feels more like a PR stunt and a way to mask the NCAA's refusal to address true core issues of the amateurism model. So no one is happy here. The NCAA just randomly came out and came up with this rule without talking to USA Basketball, without talking to the NBA, and are now claiming that it's basically everyone else's responsibility to figure out their own rule change without them having to do so. Why not just make every player that's coming out of high school be able to sign with an agent? Why is it only elite ones? What classifies a player as an elite prospect? Is it a top 10? Is it a top 20 guy? Is it only 5-star prospects? Like, there's a lot of gray area here. What happens if a player signs with, if one of these elite players signs with an agent, goes to the draft, doesn't get drafted, and has to come back with college? Is he still allowed to sign with that agent? What about any cash benefits that the agent has given him so far since he was going into the draft? Like, these are a lot of questions that the NCAA is just kind of throwing up into the air. We have a comment here on Facebook from Ivan saying, I would go to the G League and get paid instead of going to some uppity school that doesn't give a damn about me, not even enough to pay me. Well, look, Adam Silver over the past couple of years has made it very clear that he does not like the NCAA and really doesn't like how shady they have been with a lot of their processes between agents and players. The G League, as of right now, by the way, formerly the D League, now the major sponsor Gatorade, now the G League, it has been very clear that the NBA is trying to make the G League as the minor league basketball system. They want these kids to come out of high school, spend a year in the G League, and go to the NBA the season after. That's what the long-term plan is for the G League. I mean, we saw the Australian Basketball League, also known as the NBL, talk about how they're opening up their own version of an amateurism model in their league to allow these high school players to play a year in Australia and then go to the NBA. So the NCAA continues to stand in their own way by not allowing some sort of freedom here with their players. And it seems like with this new rule change, it's just going to cause more confusion and more chaos. So we'll have more updates on this story going forward because the NBA has no idea what's going on right now. So once the NBA figures out their plan, we will report that to you. But as of right now, USA Basketball and the NBA are not happy today with the NCAA and these new rule changes. Let's get into some better news. The NBA Christmas schedule was announced. One of my favorite sporting events of the year has become NBA Christmas. The jerseys, the players, the stadiums are decked out, the fans are in Santa costumes. It's awesome. Now, my mom said that we rank things way too much on this show. And I told her last night, I warned her that she is wrong and that we're actually going to be ranking the NBA Christmas games. So let's get into our rankings for these Christmas games. At number 5, we have probably the most random game that they are putting on Christmas this year. It's the Portland Trail Blazers versus the Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell takes center stage versus Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. Very interesting seeing the Utah Jazz getting some national TV time. I think we saw last year in the playoffs that, look, this is a very interesting team with a lot of talent on it. They have the reigning defensive player of the year in Rudy Gobert. They have the best true rookie in the NBA from last year in Donovan Mitchell. They have a lot of other really good players and one of the best coaches in the NBA. This is a very weird matchup, though, but that's why it's on at 10:30 p.m. This will probably be the least watched game of Christmas, but Trailblazers taking on the Jazz at number 5. Let's go to my number 4 game. Giannis returns to Madison Square Garden in a Christmas Day rematch with the New York Knicks. So the last time Giannis was at Madison Square Garden, if you remember, he actually jumped over Tim Hardaway Jr. in order to throw down a dunk. Like, he literally jumped over him. Like, Tim Hardaway Jr. went through his legs. It was wild. One of the best dunks of the season. But I got to say, we were really hoping that Kristaps Porzingis is healthy, because I really don't want to see Giannis and a good Bucks team just wipe the floor with the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden on Christmas. So hopefully Kristaps is healthy. I got to say, though, very interesting that the Milwaukee Bucks got a Christmas Day game this year over the Toronto Raptors. I know they want to push Giannis, and I would push Giannis on national television as well, but the Raptors might end up being one of the 5 or 6 best teams in basketball with Kawhi Leonard. So interesting seeing the Bucks get the game over the Raptors, but we get another year of Bucks versus Knicks in Madison Square Garden. Let's go to number 3. It's the Melo Bowl. The Thunder visit the Rockets in Houston at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Carmelo Anthony gets to take on his old team on Christmas Day. A possible Western Conference Finals matchup, perhaps, if the Warriors, blow up and the Lakers don't end up getting anything going and the Jazz end up being way worse than I think. But look, Thunder Rockets is going to be super fun. I think the Rockets are going to wipe the floor with them in Houston. But look, the Thunder at that point in the year, it's going to be December 25th. It's going to be 2 months into the season where you can really see what the Thunder are going to be able to do on a national stage. We'll also see how the Rockets are able to adjust from all their offseason moves. So that is going to be a really fun matchup. I'll definitely be watching that one at 3 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. Let's go to our number 2 game. The Celtics and the 76ers take their Eastern Conference Finals rematch, or Eastern Conference Semifinals rematch to Christmas. This is a weird thing for me. I understand that the NBA wants to push Celtics 76ers. I totally understand. They're going to be 2 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference this year. Can we stop calling this a rivalry? This isn't a rivalry. There is no rivalries in the NBA. The only rivalry in the NBA right now is LeBron versus the Warriors. That's it. Any other rivalry is something that was from 20 or 30 years ago that does not apply today. The 76ers just got good last year, and all of a sudden they're a rival of the Boston Celtics. They've played in 1 playoff series in a decade and a half. Why is this a rivalry? I get it. They were rivals in the 80s. Very cool. It is no longer the 80s. It is 2018. Please stop calling this a rivalry. Or at least wait until the Sixers and the Celtics have played more playoff series than the Celtics have played against the Wizards. They've played against the Wizards in 3 or 4 playoff series over the past 5 years, and that's not considered a rivalry. So stop pushing this, though. I do understand the matchup. That's going to be a really fun one. And then number 1, LeBron versus the Warriors, the best Christmas gift that anyone could ask for. It's going to be awesome to see the kids and LeBron go up against the Warriors in Oakland. Great test for the Lakers on a national stage, and also a great test for the Warriors to see how much they actually care about the regular season. I'm serious. Last year down the stretch, the Warriors started to falter. They lost 10 of the last 17 games. They very clearly stopped caring about the regular season in general. So now we're going into NBA Christmas, 2 months into the year. DeMarcus Cousins will not be on the court for this game. No way he's going to be healthy enough for this game. But we will see the Warriors take on the Lakers in Christmas this year. It's going to be a really fun Christmas Day matchup. I'm going to be on the couch all day long or here in the Chat Sports office watching these NBA Christmas games. It's become one of the best sporting events of the year, and I'm sure it will be as good again this year. All right, let's go away from Christmas and into the rest of the NBA schedule that was announced. We got our opening week schedule, or at least our national TV schedule, for the opening week of the NBA season. The season kicks off October 16th. The 76ers take on the Celtics. Get the Thunder versus the Warriors in Oakland to start off the season as well. That's going to be the 10:30 p.m. game that night. Continue going through here. Pelicans, Rockets, and Mavs Suns on Wednesday. Bulls versus Clippers. And then we get our first Lakers game. The Lakers taking on the Portland Trailblazers on the road in Portland. First time LeBron will be in a Lakers jersey. And I'll mention this also during Lakers rumors. Don't freak out over LeBron's first game with the Lakers not being a home game. Fun fact, every time that he's rejoined a new team, his first game has never been at home. His first game with the Heat was on the road against the Celtics. His first game against the Cavs was also on the road. And now his first game with the Lakers will be on the road in Portland. On Friday, Celtics taking on the Raptors, Warriors taking on the Jazz. And then on Saturday, the Raptors versus the Wizards and the Rockets versus the Lakers. Going to be an awesome, awesome opening week on national television for the NBA. Look, I've said this a couple times. The NFL's got to watch out. Those Thursday night Lakers-Blazers game, I'm sure the NFL is going to toast them in the ratings. But look, they're going up against LeBron and the Lakers, which will be the most popular team in the NBA next season. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of ratings the NBA will be able to put up against the NFL. Let's go away from the schedule. Melo has officially joined the Rockets. I know I've said that for 4 straight shows, but ink has met paper. I's have been dotted, T's have been crossed. Carmelo Anthony is a Houston Rocket, and now we can set the over-under on when they actually ask Carmelo Anthony to come off the bench. I say Christmas. I say they're going to ask Melo by Christmas to come off the bench. I think Harden has already talked to him. I think Chris Paul has already talked to him, and it was like, look, dude, you sucked last year. You were really, really bad, and you have not been the same player since 2013. we need you to come off the bench. It's done. Like, you're going to have to be a bench player. The starting rotation just isn't the same with you in there. I really think that we could see Melo get replaced by James Ennis in the starting lineup by the middle of the year. And I can't believe that those words just came out of my mouth. And I know that YouTube is a very Carmelo Anthony positive place, which is very opposite of NBA Reddit, which is a very Carmelo Anthony negative place. But personally, I think Melo's going to end up on the bench by Christmas. But let me know. We're going to have a reaction poll coming up here. How many games will the Rockets win this year? Give me a heart for over 55. Give me a like for under 55. It's tough. I mean, this is a team that won over 60 games last year, one of the best seasons in Houston Rockets history. I'm going to go under 55. I think they're going to drop about 6 wins this year. I think they'll go around 53 or 54 wins, maybe one of the top 3 or 4 seeds in the West. They'll still be an elite NBA team. I just don't think they're going to be a 60-win roster this year. All right, let's go to our next rumor here. Jahlil Okafor signs with the Pelicans. A very interesting signing for Jahlil Okafor, and a very interesting one for the Pelicans, who are pretty stacked now at the center power forward position. Julius Randle, Nikola Mirotic, Anthony Davis, now Jahlil Okafor. They have Emeka Okafor as well. Cheick Diallo, too, who they drafted a couple years ago. Stacked right now down low. It's going to be interesting to see who actually gets playing time, but Alvin Gentry is going to be the perfect coach for Jahlil Okafor. I mean, this might be his last chance at making an NBA team and sticking with them. I mean, where else is he going to go? He failed, obviously, with the 76ers. He failed with the Nets. That was a terrible move for him last year. And now we're seeing him with the Pelicans. I mean, look, there are not going to be many mentors out there that are better for him than an Anthony Davis, who we saw kind of change his game from primarily being a post player to now being just an all-around, Hall of Fame level player. But for Jahlil Okafor, I don't think he has that kind of potential, but someone needs to teach this man how to shoot, and someone needs to teach this man how to play basketball in 2018. Gentry and Anthony Davis should be very, very good in helping him through that. Let's move on here. Myles Turner has slimmed down. Apparently, he's dropped a ton of weight and reportedly used to eat 7 slices of pizza in one meal. Now, Myles Turner, I do that. I eat 7 slices of pizza in one meal, and I can do that because I am not an NBA athlete, nor am I an athlete in general. He's also said that he spent much of his summer at a ranch doing hot yoga and trapeze yoga, and we also got the infamous quote that he's in the best shape of his life. There is a very interesting video out there. We're not going to play it on here because I don't really think we need to sit through that. Myles Turner can apparently hold a handstand for 45 seconds. This dude's 7'1". Like, that's super interesting if you're able to hold a handstand at that kind of height. That's a lot of limbs and a lot of weight that you got to distribute. So good for you, Myles Turner. I think he is on the precipice of being one of the best centers in the NBA. I said that when he got drafted, had a good couple of years, had an iffy year last year, but I think with Nate McMillan, Myles Turner should end up being one of the better centers in the NBA. Let's move on here. Zhaire Smith needs foot surgery because the 76ers are absolutely cursed. This is the 5th 76ers rookie in 6 years to get injured in the preseason and need surgery. And well, the list of the players coming up for you guys in just a bit, but in the most extreme DJ Khaled voice as I possibly can do. Another one. This is insane. I've never seen anything like this going back to 2013 when all this started with Nerlens Noel blowing out his knee and still getting drafted by the 76ers. Nerlens Noel missed the entire season in 2013. Joel Embiid missed the entire season in 2014 and missed it again in 2015. Ben Simmons missed his entire season in 2016 with another foot injury, and Markelle Fultz missed 68 games last year with a shoulder injury, and now Zhaire Smith needs surgery on a fracture in his foot. This is unlike anything that we've ever seen in the NBA. How is this even possible? Zhaire Smith has never had any injury issues. He gets drafted by the 76ers, and all of a sudden he needs to get surgery on his foot. This is absolutely wild to me. This is one of the craziest things that we have in the NBA today is the Sixers rookie curse. I think this is going to carry on for the rest of the Sixers franchise history. This has to stick around. This is unbelievable. So another injury for the Sixers. And now with that injury, Jamal Crawford. The Sixers were interested in Jamal Crawford going into this offseason. There were some rumors that they might make a move at him anyway, even after re-signing J.J. Redick. But now as we sit here today with the Zhaire Smith injury, the Sixers' interest has risen considerably because they need someone at the shooting guard position almost like they should have just kept Mikal Bridges and not just randomly have traded for an unprotected 2021 first for the Miami Heat that might not even be a lottery pick. Cool. Awesome 76ers. I love it. Let me know in the comment section below, are the 76ers cursed? Absolutely. 100%. I don't even know what you can argue for or against anymore. They are absolutely 100% cursed. Absolutely. This is crazy. Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid twice. Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, Zhaire Smith, all needing surgery in the preseason the year that they got drafted, and then Embiid 1 year after as well. Absolutely insane. Curse is never going to be broken. Let's move on to our next rumor here. Everyone thinks that they're going to win the East. Almost every single team right now that was a playoff team last year has said that they're going to win the East this year. The Bucks said it yesterday, or at least Brooke Lopez said it, new member of the Bucks. Jaylen Brown went on a podcast yesterday, said we're getting to the finals. And then John Wall said last week that the Wizards are going to win the East. Blake Griffin's going to come out next week saying that the Pistons are going to go to the finals. Everyone thinks they're going to win the East. This is like Wumbo in SpongeBob, like I Wumbo. It's I win the East, you win the East, he, she, they win the East. It's the study of winning the Eastern Conference. This is science, everybody. Everyone's going to win the East next year. And when they do, we're all just going to hand out participation trophies because welcome to 2018. None of you are winning the East. The Celtics are winning the East. They're going to win 60 games, and you can mark it down today. But we'll get to my Eastern Conference rankings a little bit later. Let's go to our next one here. Kawhi Leonard, this came out this morning, has officially thanked the Spurs organization for his time in San Antonio. I have his full quotes here, his full statement that he eventually sent out. He sent it to multiple different reporters, sent it to Shams, he sent it to Adrian Wojnarowski as well. So here's Kawhi Leonard's full statement thanking the San Antonio Spurs. I've been going back and forth the last few weeks trying to figure out the right things to say, and it comes down to two simple words. Thank you. My family and I want to say thank you to the entire Spurs organization and the people and fans of San Antonio. It goes along to say thank you to my teammates, thank you to Pop, thank you to the fans, and thank you to the city and people of San Antonio one more time. Now I will leave and go join the Los Angeles Lakers and crush your dreams for the next 5 years. Thanks, Kawhi. I'm sure the Spurs fans are very happy to hear that you're thankful for how nice they were to you. But that's going to do it for our NBA rumors section today. You are watching NBA Weekly here on Chat Sports.